Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners special meeting for the fiscal year 24 budget presentation. We do not have an agenda for this meeting, but we will have the invocation and the pledge by Commissioner Fairclough.
Let's honor God and country for just a moment, please. Our Heavenly Father, once again, we thank you for the opportunity to be in your presence, Lord, to do the business of the people of our county. We ask that the decisions we make are acceptable in your sight and those in the eyes of those we serve. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I can't hear.
Thank you, Commissioner Fairclough. You're welcome. At this time, I will call on County Manager Clarence Greer for the presentation of the FY24 recommended budget.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm honored to present the fiscal year 2024 recommended annual budget. Okay. The combined budget is balanced in accordance with the North Carolina Local Government Fiscal Control Act. The total budget across all funds totals $567 million. It represents only a 2% increase over all funds for this fiscal year. The budget for the general fund totals $373 million. It represents a 3% increase over this current year's adopted budget. The recommended tax rate for the upcoming fiscal year is 79.9 cents per $100 assessed valuation, maintaining the tax rate at the same rate. The budget development goals. The fiscal year 2024 budget development goals advance your strategic goals that you established in fiscal year 2021 of the Crown Event Center, Grays Creek, water access, homelessness, economic development, and governmental communication. The recommended budget also continues to address your funding activities, the budget funding activities for fiscal year 22 and those that have gone continue into fiscal 23 of employee recruitment and retention, school funding, mental health, and public health. As we look at the economic outlook in the aftermath of COVID-19, in Cumberland County, we continue to face some ongoing challenges and concerns, such as the opioid addiction, mental health, labor upheaval due to the Great Resignation, and wage growth, and that has caused inflation and supply chain issues. Sorry about that. As we look at the general fund, ad valorem taxes are budgeted at ad valorem taxes in total are budgeted at $201 million. That's comprised of the real property, personal property, and motor vehicle tax collections. Personal and real and personal property are budgeted at $174 million and represent a $3.6 million increase over this current year's adopted budget. Some of this information is not in your slide, so, all right. The motor vehicle collections are budgeted at $27 million and represent a 16.3% increase over this current year's adopted budget. As we look at sales tax in this strange economy, which is, we collect sales taxes on a 24/7 basis, we've we budgeted sales taxes at 3%, and a 3% increase, and budgeted at $66 million for the upcoming fiscal year. We have appropriated $6.6 million in fund balance for recurring expenses. This appropriation follows your policies and procedures that you've approved, and also is an 18% decrease in the current year's appropriated fund balance for recurring expenses, approximately $1.4 million decrease. As we look at the general fund expenditures, departments requested $9.4 million in one-time and recurring requests which is a decrease of $1 million from this current fiscal year. Departments requested nine new positions, 89 vehicles, and capital outlays. Due to mandated increases dealing with compensation and other increases in initiatives, we could not recommend a lot of these initiatives in this year's budget. These mandates included required retirement contributions to the retired increases in retirement contributions to the retirement system, property and cybersecurity insurance increases, and state increases for the county share of youth detention facility costs. Your ongoing priorities are funded in this budget of the Crown Event Center of $131 million, Grays Creek Water Access of $9.8 million, including the Capital Investment Fund to develop a water system in the Grays Creek Water District and deal with the contamination of Gen X and PFAS. It includes $80,000 for white flag events and conditions for homelessness, mental health funding of $4.8 million for Alliance Health, and then for public health, it continues the prevention program at $1 million and also continues the public health department transportation for health clients.
How much for the health?
And that's funded at $50,000. The recommended budget only recommends one new position this year due to the number of vacancies we currently have in the organization. I didn't feel comfortable with recommending any new positions. There's only one, the Spring Lake Resource Custodian Crew Leader. We recommended in that position. That was a contracted position, but that person retired. And due to that retirement, when we tried to go out and find someone else to replace them, it was more cost savings if we hired the person in-house. So that's the one position that we're recommending. In addition, we've cut 10 positions at a net savings of $115,000. The budget includes funding for 911 backup center, and then departments requested approximately $504,000 of capital outlay. I recommend funding all of that. One project in particular is $176,000 to equip the animal control vehicles with climate control cages for the safety of the animals and also to meet the regulations, the animal welfare regulations of the state. Departments requested 89 vehicles at a cost of $6.9 million. We could not fund that this fiscal year. We need in the next fiscal year, we'll do a fleet study to try to right-size our fleet, but this year wasn't the year that we need to recommend that. But the budget does fund 21 vehicles at a cost of $1.4 million, mostly to replace sheriff vehicles. And then the recommended funding for community funding programs is approximately $481,000. This represents a $5,000 decrease from this fiscal year. The only program that didn't request funding was the teen involvement program. They didn't request funding this year, so that counts for the decrease. As far as education is concerned, the recommended annual budget includes an appropriation of $87.5 million for Cumberland County Schools' current expense, which represents 43.47% of the ad valorem tax collections, or the projected ad valorem tax collections. In addition, this appropriation is only $700,000 less than what Cumberland County Schools requested. When we move at education for FTCC, the recommended funding for FTCC is $15.4 million. This is an increase of $1.2 million recommended. It funds their salary increases for employees and also funds their operating expenses due to increases due to inflation. One of your ongoing priorities was recruitment and retention. We started a compensation plan. We haven't gotten the results of the compensation plan back, but there's a commitment to employees. The recommended annual budget includes a 4% interim early implementation adjustment for all county employees as a preliminary step for the compensation plan. We anticipate the recommended compensation plan total to be between 7.5% and 10%. We plan to bring that recommendation back to you in August of this year. But not and let me rephrase, the difference between 10 and 4% would be what we would have to fund in August, or 10 and 7.5% would what we project will have to be funded in August. Additionally, under recruitment and retention, we have the sheriff's office, and I visited there a couple of weeks ago, especially the detention center. They have a vacancy rate amongst the sheriff deputies and the detention officers of almost 50, depending on what calculation, between 56 and 79%. And to remain competitive locally and regionally, we needed to find some incentive or some way in order to entice people to come work for the sheriff office. And we have two bonus programs. One for a $2,500 bonus for new sheriff deputy and detention officers who stay with the organization, who are employed and stay with the organization for 3 years. If they do not stay for 3 years, we will recoup that $2,500. And it'll be a prorated amount, but we would recoup it. And then a second incentive would be a recruitment bonus for current sheriff deputies and detention officers who recommend potential employees to the organization, and they come and work for are hired, work for 3 years. They would receive a recruitment bonus for recruiting somebody to come to the organization. We budgeted for the first recruitment bonus $100,000, and for the second one $100,000. New initiatives that are included in this budget: public health maternal mortality program, Healthy Conversations, Cafe West, and the historic Orange Street School. They total, and the total for all these new initiatives is approximately $610,000. The public health maternal mortality program will research and address maternal death disparities amongst women in our county. We recommended funding for this program is $100,000. Healthy Conversations, the public health department is proposing to implement a program that trains barbers and stylists to advocate for positive health behaviors amongst their clients and the health behaviors that disproportionately hurt our Cumberland County residents. This would involve educating their clients on prostate cancer, chronic disease, hypertension, tobacco use, sexual transmitted diseases, mental health, and substance abuse. The recommended funding for this program initially would be $134,000. The next new initiative would be Cafe West, and it's an innovative program in partnership between the West Regional Library and Service Source Works for me and other community inclusion partners, in which a cafe or coffee shop would be put in the West Regional Library, and it will provide on-the-job training for individuals, youth and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The recommended funding for this program initially is $25,000. And then, as you approved in April, we have $350,000 for the historic Orange Street School, and this will cover, for their restoration project, we're funding $350,000 for furniture, appliances, supplies, technology, and studio equipment. When we get to other funding, under funds and other funding priorities, the capital investment fund totals $37.8 million and is highlighted, as you can see, by debt service, FTCC capital, the capital improvement plan, technology, maintenance and repairs, Grays Creek water, $9.8 million, as I previously mentioned. There are some other projects that are included in this. Law enforcement parking debt repairs of $1.3 million. Courthouse maintenance upgrades of $1 million. Detention center maintenance upgrades of $660,000. Central maintenance canopy repair of $420,000. And security upgrades for all county facilities of $275,000. As we get to the Crown Center Fund, the revenue resources or sources for the event center event revenue, food and beverage tax, and occupancy tax. Since the pandemic, the food and beverage tax revenue has rebounded, and this year we're budgeting for fiscal year 2024. Oh, I'm sorry. For fiscal year 2024, as you can see on the chart, we're budgeting $10.6 million, which is an approximate increase of 13.6% from this fiscal year. The occupancy tax, we are budgeting at $2 million for the Crown Center Fund. This represents an increase of 10.9% over the projected fiscal year 23 collections. Lastly, the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund. We're recommending a budget for the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund of $27.3 million, which represents approximately a 72% increase in the current year's adopted budget. We recommend increases in the solid waste availability fee and the tipping fee, and these increases in fees would generate an additional $7.3 million in additional revenue for fiscal year 2024. Now, you may ask, and it may seem a lot, as to why we need to increase, or we're requesting an increase in the fees. Well, we have approximately, as you can see on the slide, that totals up to approximately $14 million, and we're trying to extend the life and the capacity of the landfill. So, and the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund is self-sustaining and debt-free. And so currently our fund balance in the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund is $16 million. If you subtract $14 million out of that for these costs that we definitely need to fund in order to increase the capacity of the landfill, our fund balance will go down to approximately a little over $2 million, a little under $2 million. So that's the reason why we're asking for the increase in the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund fees, solid waste availability fee, and the tipping fees. Additionally, one of the reasons why we're asking for the increase is that our availability fee, tipping fees are the lowest in our region of any other county around us. You can see that our availability fee right now is 56, it's the lowest. If you look at our tipping fee, it's 38. If you look at our tipping fee, C&D, it's 36. And compared to other counties, we're the lowest in our region. So therefore, to kind of prevent others from bringing their waste to our landfill that we're trying to expand the capacity on, we need to make sure that we stay competitive and increase the fees so we can keep the fund solvent. In conclusion, in the fiscal year 24 annual budget is presented for your review and consideration as you develop the adopted budget. The budget advances your priorities and goals in a fiscally sound manner. The budget addresses health education, health disparities, mental health, education, public safety, the operational and capital needs of the county while providing flexibility to address emerging issues that may arise in fiscal year 24. I would like to thank you for your financial prudence and commitment to preserving our strong financial condition. Additionally, I'd like to thank all county departments, especially the departments of budget and performance, finance, public information, and the executive management team for their assistance and, more importantly, their guidance in preparing this budget in a year of transition and evolving circumstances. Next, we have the budget meetings. I think we need to change the budget meeting May 31st because there may be a conflict. And then we have the budget public hearing June 7th, the budget work session June 14th, and another budget work session, as they say in the NBA, if necessary, June 15th. And in the end, the fiscal year budget, the fiscal year 2024 recommended budget is available at cumberlandcountync.gov online. That concludes my presentation. I'll take any questions that you may have.
What date did you say needed to be changed?
May 31st.
Okay, Commissioner Adams.
Madam Chairwoman, I would make a motion to change that May 31st at 5:30 to June 1st. at 5:30. I think it was a conflict with us, with the hospital board.
Second motion.
All those in favor?
Commissioner Jones?
I have a question.
There's a motion on the floor.
We don't have questions.
We, questions are for another time. We just, there's a motion on the floor to move the May 31st meeting to June 1st. Are you in favor of that change?
Yes, I am in favor, but did I not hear him say, were there any questions? Is that not correct?
No, he
He
did
asked
not.
if there was any questions. He did ask if we had any questions when he finished. Did you not ask that question if we had any questions when you finished? Is that not correct, Mr. Gear? He said, do we have any
Oh,
questions?
we need to do
after
this
the
motion on
presentation?
the floor right now. All those in favor?
Okay, and then may I ask my question?
All those in favor?
Commissioner Booth?
I don't know if he's on. Unanimous.
Commissioner, okay, it's unanimous. Commissioner Jones, we haven't had an opportunity to review any of the information, so this first meeting, what we do is we receive the information, then we take it back. During our work session is when we have an opportunity to ask all of our questions.
Okay, I do understand the process, but he asked if there was any questions, but I'll save it for that time. I don't want to go back and forth, but it was a question in regards to when he asked, were there any questions about his information?
Yes, he
So I
wasn't
understand the
aware.
process.
He wasn't aware. Thank you.
Okay.
Is there a, Commissioner Adams?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Commissioner Jones?
In favor, I had my hand up.
Oh, we can't see.
We can't see you. It's not on our board.
Commissioner Booth?
Okay, well, I didn't know if she could. I'm in favor.
That'd be unanimous.
Thank you. Motion, meeting adjourned.